Programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:03. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses. It is Wednesday, June 13th, mid-June already. My name is Tina Gorman. I know, it is. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and that voice you hear in the background is the chairman of the board, our producer, Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
It's getting deeper because I'm all congested.
Yeah, it is getting very deep.
Yeah.
So allergies, is that what we're talking about?
I think so, but it's settling in my chest, which isn't a good thing.
Yeah, but a lot of people with allergies are finding that, too.
This year's brutal. Bob had
horrible.
Bronchitis. He was in the hospital. Well, he went to the emergency room.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, I did not know that.
We had to cancel a show on Tuesday.
Well, I listened in, and I started listening to it, and I thought, this is a best of show.
Yeah,
so
from 2014.
From a long time ago. We got to talk about that in a minute. It was so funny because, you know what, it was really interesting, Pete. I was listening to Jay. I kind of came in the middle of things, and because Gary said to me, oh, turn on Bob's show, because usually Kevin Coughlin would be on the second Tuesday of the month, and Gary really we're close friends, and Gary enjoys listening to Kevin. But anyway, I'm listening to Jay Pagluca, and I'm thinking, that sounds like Jay from a long time ago.
There was also the guy that owned Mo Froyo.
Yes. Well, that was what...
And
that was
Kelsey Viette and Jared DeHarnett.
Okay, I missed that part of it, but when I heard the Mo Froyo, I thought, oh, this is an old show.
Yeah, because they were promoting a concert that we streamed live it was July of 2014.
Yeah. Well, which was the first, right? Which was the first year that we had that we started this shindig 4 years ago. We are celebrating our 4-year anniversary. But yeah, so anyway, but what was really funny, Pete, was last week after my show, if you recall, the mayor and Denny Akins, and I'm not sure if Amber went to Jim Madigan's funeral, and so forth. So you did a best of show from way back in the archives. It was with former Mayor Dan Knappich.
Yeah, I have about the first month and a half of shows, and then everything went on Vimeo after that.
Yes, exactly.
And that all went away, so we lost a good amount of shows.
I know, but you know what? I have to tell you. So I was driving out. I was presenting at this conference in Worcester last week after I did the radio show. I had breakfast with Patrick Barry at Soup's On. That's our tradition now on Wednesday mornings. And then from there, I was heading on to Worcester. So I was catching the show. It was so fun. It was so nostalgic. It was Mayor Dan and you and Ken Stomsky. At that time, It was a Friday show, and at that time, Ken was a guest. He didn't have his own show back then, and it was Kenny the Facebook guy and myself, and it was. And I heard it all the way almost to Palmer. I was able to get it.
Yeah, you get that corridor there.
It was so fun to listen to 4 years ago. The very Very
One
first
of the
the shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I wanted
fun.
a show with all 4 of us on it because those were fun.
Yeah, we were just having a great time, and it was so much fun to listen to it. So thank you for doing that. And then the other day when I was listening to Bob's, I said, "Oh my goodness, this is like a blast from the past."
I said on Facebook, I said I need to pull out the Wayback Machine for Bob's show because he's going to be out sick. So, and then Jay and I were going to do it, and then Jay was swamped with work.
Yeah.
And so finally we had to tell Dr. Coughlin, I'm like, it's not going to happen.
Well, it was...
Because it would have been me talking by myself for the first hour.
Yeah, yeah. I
totally
understand that.
I could have went Trump and Kim Jong-un playing, clips all morning, but I was like, no, I'm not talking to myself.
That's all right, because we've kind of been, inundated with that. So So anyway, so that was kind of fun. So I assumed that Bob was still in Portugal. I said to Gary, "Wow, he's been in Portugal for a long time," but I didn't realize. So. Well, hopefully, Bob, we wish you well. He's probably sleeping through this. But he's home. He didn't. He wasn't.
No, he's home.
He wasn't.
He said he just had to lay low for a couple days.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's been really bad. We had our COA board meeting at City Hall on Monday, and Alan Sudentis said he is just dying with all the allergies. Same thing. It's allergies,
brutal.
and it's just kind of settled in his chest. And he too has that really deep, raspy voice.
Yeah,
and it's been not kind to us this year.
Yep.
So weather-wise today, it is 55 degrees right now, going up to the mid 70s, and we are expecting some rain later on. So probably mid-afternoon, and they said tonight possibly heavy at times. So just kind of be prepared for that. Have your umbrella.
Maybe that'll wash away the pollen.
Well, I'm kind of hoping. It's everywhere. But everybody's car is just covered in this,
green. Yeah, I live under pine trees, which are the worst.
Yeah.
I thought originally, I was telling somebody else, I thought it was dust from the construction site across the street blowing over. No, it was pollen.
Yeah, and I'm betting that because of where you live, that may also be really impacting how badly you're suffering this year.
I didn't get it for years, even when we lived there with all the same pine trees. But the past couple of years, it's been pretty bad in the spring.
Yeah, it's been tough. So, Pete, we've had, a lot of stuff has happened in the last week. This past weekend was crazy, busy with all kinds of things going on. First of all, a big shout out to Barbara Coleman. If you were listening first thing this morning, I want to thank Barbara. She coordinated our wheel walk team. Stanley Park did their wheel walk on Saturday. Nice picture. Also a shout out to Patrick Berry at the Westfield News. Nice picture of Irene Lansing and her guide dog Yoshi. Irene was part of the senior center team. We had Barbara Coleman, Pat and Ralph Baker, and my sister-in-law Donna Schaefer. And I hope I didn't forget. I think that was it. I don't think I forgot anybody. Francis Chavette. Yeah, there were 6 of them. So they said it was a beautiful day for the wheel walk. Beautiful day. They had nice weather.
I had to turn them down because I had a graduation party.
Yeah, I know. So much going on. Yeah, and graduation. So I think now all of the local high school graduations are done, right?
Yes.
Westfield
Colleges
Technical, St.
Mary's,
Mary's, Gateway, Southwick, they're all finished. So we have a couple of songs that we're going to play in honor of the recent high school graduates and college graduates as well, the Westfield State folks. Hopefully they're becoming gainfully employed.
Yeah,
so that was that. Yeah. Okay.
It's a tough economy out there. People don't want to realize that, but it is.
It is.
It's very competitive right now.
It is. And you know what I'm finding more and more and more is that everyone is thinking part-time. Employers, it's part-time workers, and which is really hard for recent graduates because part-time does not usually bring in benefits and vacation time. And it's interesting. My daughter's going through that and has been since she graduated from Westfield State. Mostly it's been part-time. And, part-time for Grace, she's working down in for the city of Lake Mary, Florida, and she loves her job. Full-time is 30 or benefited, not full-time, but benefited position
plus.
Is 30 plus, and she works 29 and a half hours a week.
Yep.
They won't let her go over that 29 and a half hour mark. And,
a lot of businesses do the same thing.
Exactly. It's really, really challenging for.
I know when I worked at Mount Holyoke as a part-time dispatcher, they got really touchy about that. Yep. Crossing that 32 hours.
Yep. It's whatever they set it at, It's just really interesting. But anyway, congratulations to all the graduates. We certainly wish you well, and we wish you full-time employment.
Yeah, right.
And your moms and dads, I'm sure, do as well. So,
well, they say this is the time we really got to hustle.
Yes.
I mean, you really have to hustle.
Yeah. And I, Gary.
And I don't know if they all get that part of it.
And here's the part the other part that I think they don't get. But Gary and I use this word. It's network.
Oh, yeah.
Network.
I'm trying to tell my son that.
That's how you get the job. Network, guys. You just. I mean, it is obviously about talent and all of those other great things. But it is. I don't want to say it's who you know, but it's being comfortable with networking, and if somebody knows somebody who knows somebody, it's being comfortable with making that phone call, making that contact, introducing yourself.
Networking gets your foot in the door.
Exactly.
Talent keeps you in that door.
Yes. Talent. And you know what? It's interesting because I used to tell Grace that when she was applying for a job, I said, I can help to connect you to the right people and hopefully help to get you an interview. You're on your own. After the interview, you're the one who has to sell yourself. You're the one that has to, get the job and keep the job and do it well. That's up to you. But
what I'm finding with a lot of kids nowadays is that sometimes because they get sucked into their phones and whatever, they're not comfortable outside of what they immediately know. Like
Absolutely.
They're not willing to jump outside of that
Absolutely.
circle.
I see that as a huge problem.
I set my son up with a pretty good internship, and he ended up going with the company he's been working with to do an internship there. And I thought, no, you need to jump outside your comfort zone a little bit.
Got to step out of the box.
And he didn't do it, so I'm like, I keep trying.
And the other thing, Pete, that I think that it's really crucial, and I've heard it from people, sort of our generation, is we have a generation of smartphone texting kids.
Oh, I hate that.
And the problem is that they are not only are they not comfortable with face-to-face, which is what you have to do in a job interview, they're not comfortable with actually speaking with people on the phone, and they don't know how to conduct themselves verbally on a telephone.
Yep.
And again, that's what's going to get your foot in the door, guys. You have to be comfortable. And I really think, we used to do when I was a kid, back a million years ago, they used to do a lot with teaching us how to interview. Now I think we've got to teach kids how to get the interview, never mind get through the interview. And getting the interview requires verbal conversation over a telephone, or face to face, at a wherever you are, So anyway, those are some skills that folks need to work on, because we've got some talented, students out there and graduates out there. But if you can't sell yourself, nobody's going to know how wonderful you are.
Oh, heck yes. They know the programs a lot better than I do. All the communication stuff.
Oh, yes.
These high school kids can breeze through this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
but
they're very talented, very, very bright, but they have to be able to sell themselves. So, Pete, different subject. Anybody hear anything about how the YMCA fundraiser went, the Zach Brown thing? I haven't heard any feedback.
Jay said it was a really good show.
Good.
So I don't know how they did, but Jay said it was a really good show.
But it was a good show and good turnout.
I went home. I was exhausted after the Brewfest. I was just beat.
Yeah.
I was done. And with all the pollen.
Finished.
Poor Charlie Galvin, the last act, lost his voice halfway through because he was dealing with allergies.
Right. That was Brewfest was the week before.
That was the same day.
You're right.
It was the same day.
Right. You are absolutely right. You know what? I'm thinking the Zach Brown was this past Saturday. It was the
Same
Saturday
day,
before.
yeah.
You're absolutely right, Pete. You're right.
Same
that's
day.
right. I'm getting my weekends mixed up now.
It's a jumble.
So much going on out there.
I have this weekend pretty much completely off. I have nothing going on as far as I know. But then the following weekend is the Boys and Girls Club half marathon.
Yes. Yeah. You're going to. You know what? I was thinking
I'm DJing.
about.
Bill Parks hired me. He's going to give me something for it.
Well, I was thinking about running. Here's my dilemma. So for Christmas this year, like Gary and I like to give each other what we call experiential gifts. So my gift from Gary this year is we're going to see a show, and you're going to ask me what the name of the show is, and I honestly can't remember because I opened this in December.
I'm going to see On Your Feet next week, which is the
Where is it, at the
Gloria
Bushnell?
Stefan. Yeah,
that's what we're going to see.
On opening night?
When are you going? We're going.
The
We're
19th.
going. No, we're going the 20. Whatever next Saturday is, the 23rd.
Oh, I'm going. We're going opening night.
Okay, no, we're going on the 23rd to the matinee.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my dilemma. So it's the same day as the Boys and Girls Club. I don't run the half, but I would run the 5K. And I think the race. I just found out the race. Amber Danahy thought the race started at 11, but it starts at 9. So I'm trying to figure out if I can get up to the Boys and Girls Club, run the 5K, get home, shower, change, get ready, and get down to the Bushnell for the matinee.
Yeah, I don't know. That might be awfully tight.
It might be
because trying to find parking in Hartford is always fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I got to figure that out. But a 5K, I mean, it's only going to take me half an hour to run it. So,
right.
I mean, I don't know. Gary and I have to figure that out.
There's a big party afterwards, though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to miss that.
Well, I would,
That's where I'm
I
gonna
would
be
definitely have to miss that. I mean, it's just go run the race and, which
Is that part of the race series?
Yeah. It will be next year.
Oh, next year.
The race series is for the 350th year.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I know Vanessa Diana's trying to get that all done. And and speaking of the race series, so a quick one before we go to break. So Gary, and thank you. This is a shout out to my wonderful husband, Gary Gorman, Dr. Gary Gorman, who came with me on Sunday. We went up to Stanley Park because Pete, you'll appreciate this.
Yes.
Recall that Run Stanley, which is kind of the cross country race. It's a 5K that we do in October. And last year we had.
Have I been drafted for that yet?
Yes, I drafted you for that because you put me on a committee for that. Because last year when we had Vanessa Diana up here on the show and we were talking about Run Stanley, and I said, well, they have the run, and then they have the canine run and the Munchkin run, and I said they should have a senior stroll. And so you said to me on air, that's going to put you on a committee. And don't even think that Vanessa Diana, I wasn't even out in my car in the parking lot, and she was going, okay, you're on the Run Stanley committee for 2018.
Right.
But anyway, which is fine. And so we are.
Wait a minute. No, what I said was be careful what you say because you're going to get volunteered for a committee.
Right. That's right. But I think you planted that seed, and Vanessa heard it and thought, yeah, right. So anyway, I am on that committee, and so one of my jobs is to map out the senior stroll. So we wanted to do a 1 mile senior stroll that was not in the woods, level, flat,
fairly level ground. Yep.
So Gary came up he has this little machine thing that he borrowed because he's a track coach.
Rolling pedometer.
Thank you.
They use it for traffic accidents.
What it is.
Yeah, they use it for traffic accidents.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Police department has one.
We were walking and rolling around, Stanley Park. We ran into Bob McKeon on his golf cart, and then I had to explain to him what we were doing. So then he talked all about the wheel walk because this was Sunday afternoon. So we mapped out our 1 mile walk, and then I'm going to get together with Hillary McEwen over at Stanley Park tomorrow, who's also on the committee, just to show her the route, make sure we're okay, and they like it. But it's exactly 1 mile. Should be a really good route for the senior stroll walkers. So anyway, thanks to my husband Gary. It is 6:19. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. So we're going to do, this one is Good Riddance, Time of Your Life by Green Day. This is for all of our recent graduates.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Sun grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. Take the photographs and still frames in your mind. Hang it on a shelf of good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. Unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com. Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Underwriting for community radio is provided by the YMCA of Greater Westfield. Every day, the YMCA strengthens the community through programs and services focused on youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. For all the Y's many programs and services, visit us on the web at www.westfieldymca.org. The YMCA, 67 Court Street in downtown Westfield. We're more than a gym. We're a cause. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:23. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. This is so funny, Pete. I'm looking at my phone says it's 6:21. The big clock says 6:22, and my clock says 6:23. So anyway, we're somewhere in that ballpark.
I got 6:21, the laptop and the computer, which are both, sync time. I got to fix the back one. It's getting speedy again.
Yeah, I'm throwing out 6:23 because at least that way, you'll be on time. That's right. You won't be late. All right. So we have some birthdays. Today's June 13th. So we have some famous birthdays today. Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen. Remember the Mary Kate and Ashley twins?
The Full House twins.
Yeah, the Full House twins. So they were born June 13th, 1986 in Sherman Oaks, California.
Oh, God, I was halfway through high school.
They are 32 years old today.
I was halfway through high school.
Yeah, Mary Kate and Ashley have become the most popular and bankable female personalities in America. The Olsen twins made their acting debut in 1987 at 9 months old, sharing the role of the youngest daughter, Michelle Tanner, on the ABC family sitcom Full House. Pete gets that trivia question right. The series ran for 8 years, during which the Olsen twins' career took off. By the age of 12, the girls had starred in home videos, feature films, multimedia entertainment, and another TV series, Two of a Kind. Do you remember that one, Pete? I remember the name, but I don't remember sort of what that was about. They produced several straight-to-video movies, a line of musical detective videos entitled The Adventures of Mary Kate and Ashley. I do remember that.
I remember that one. Yeah.
And the enormously successful You're Invited to Mary Kate and Ashley's Party Tapes.
Huh?
Really? Yep. In addition to acting, the Olsens have become a huge force in girl marketing. Products bearing their names include computer games, dolls, and an enormously popular clothing line for Walmart.
Too much exposure.
In 2007, well, here you go, Pete, though. In 2007, Forbes magazine ranked Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen as the 11th richest women in entertainment. Their estimated net worth sits at nearly $100 million.
I don't doubt that.
Not bad. So the only thing that I didn't find out, which I could have, but I didn't want to get too much into depth.
They had some problems along the way with anorexia and things like that. I remember the stories about that. They have said some
of that stuff, but how they ended up at 9 months old, in this role, because the parents were not actors. The dad was, I want to say, like real estate something. But anyway, Happy 32nd birthday to Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen. It is also the birthday. I had to throw this one in for my brother, who's a huge fan of the late Basil Rathbone. What did he play, Pete? Do you know?
Basil Rathbone. I know the name, but I don't know what he played.
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't. This one I got right away. He was born June 13th, 1892 in Johannesburg, South Africa. He died in 1967 at the age of 75. He began as a Shakespearean actor on the London stage, but in 1939, Basil Rathbone starred as Sherlock Holmes in The Hound of Baskervilles. And after 14 movies in 7 years, Rathbone was forever linked to the famous sleuth. My brother Dave was a huge Basil Rathbone fan.
I wonder if he did that on radio, too. I'll have to look that up because we have some Sherlock Holmes.
I do not know that. That's a good question. Yeah, I know. Jay's done some. All right. It is also the birthday. Here you go, Pete. Here's another trivia one. It is the birthday of the late John Nash. Recognize that name?
No.
Mathematician. I got this one right off the bat, too. Born June 13th, 1928 in Bluefield, West Virginia. He died in 2015 at the age of 86. Did you see the movie A Beautiful Mind?
Yes.
John Nash.
Yes. Okay.
John Nash. Okay.
And yes, he did play in the radio.
Okay, there you go.
He played Sherlock Holmes on the radio.
Okay. So at the age of 22, John Nash published his influential thesis, Non-Cooperative Games, in the journal Annals of Mathematics. He joined the faculty of MIT in 1951, but resigned in the late 1950s. In 1994, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Economics for his landmark work on the mathematics of game theory. His struggles with mental illness and recovery were the subject of the Academy Award-winning biopic A Beautiful Mind, which was done in 2001, directed by Ron Howard and starring Russell Crowe. On May 23rd, 2015, Nash and his wife died when a taxi they were riding in lost control and crashed on the New Jersey Turnpike. He was 86.
Wow.
And you know what? It was interesting because Gary got me A Beautiful Mind. I think he got me the video for Christmas a few years ago, and we watched the movie. I've probably seen that movie now 2 or 3 times. I'm fascinated with the movie because when I saw it the first time, I didn't realize he was hallucinating and delusional and all this stuff. And so they have all these characters in the movie, which you find out later are in his mind. They're not
mental
yet.
Constructs.
Correct. But so well done. So if you haven't seen the movie A Beautiful Mind about John Nash, go see it. It is also the birthday of the late Paul Lynde. Does that name ring a bell? Paul Lynde?
Yes.
Actor, comedian.
He was on Bewitched.
He was, among lots of other things. He was born June 13th.
He was also the center square.
He was the center square in Hollywood Squares for 15 years.
Yep.
He was born in 1926 in Mount Vernon, Ohio, but he died young. He died in 1982 at the age of 55. So Paul Lynde studied, listen to this, he studied drama with classmates Patricia O'Neill and Charlton Heston.
There you go.
A very different
good class there.
I was going to say, he was like the guy with the lampshade on his head. He moved to New York in 1948 to hone his comedic skills by performing stand-up routines. In 1960, Lynde was cast as the father of a starstruck teenager in the Broadway production of Bye Bye Birdie, a role that he reprised in the 1963 film adaptation, which starred Dick Van Dyke and Anne Margaret. It's close, warm to my heart. We did Bye Bye Birdie my senior year.
We did it to a cathedral.
I was the mother. I was always cast as the mother.
I was lighting and sound. I was lighting and sound.
Oh, there you go. For Paul Lynde, the success of Bye Bye Birdie led to the recording of a comedy album and regular spots on the Red Button Show and the Perry Como Show. Movies included Under the Yum Yum Tree, Beach Blanket Bingo, and The Glass Bottom Boat. And here's where you come in, Pete. Lynde forged a lucrative career as a character actor with parts on the popular television series The Munsters, I Dream of Jeannie, and Bewitched.
Yep. That's right. He was on I Dream of Jeannie,
yes,
too.
Yeah. In 1967, he debuted on the fledgling game show Hollywood Squares, where, as the permanent center square, he found an outlet to showcase his comedic talents for the next 15 years. Oh, God,
he was funny on that show. He was
hysterical. He was absolutely hysterical. And I used to think to myself...
It's almost like Charles Nelson Riley on Match Game.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, very, very, very similar. Oh, my God. Gene Rayburn in the Match Game.
Yes.
We are showing our age. Okay. Lastly, so those are all the famous birthdays. And before we go to break, it is National Random Acts of Light Day. And if you wonder what that is, because I did, it's actually kind of serious. Edith Wharton said there are 2 ways of spreading light, to be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. Sometimes it takes just one gentle word or small token to help overcome darkness. On June 13th, National Random Acts of Light Day encourages us to bring light to the darkness of cancer by surprising someone with an act of kindness. Receiving the diagnosis of cancer is one of the darkest moments a person can have. As part of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Light the Night Walks fundraising campaign, National Random Acts of Light brings awareness to the importance of providing cures and access to treatments for blood cancer patients. Take a friend fishing or bring them their favorite cup of coffee. Sometimes a visit, a walk, or a fresh bouquet of flowers is what brings the light into the room. Surprise someone you love by bringing a sparkle to their day. The history of this is that the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society founded National Random Acts of Light Day to shine a light on the need for research and a cure for blood cancers. The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is the world's largest voluntary health agency dedicated to blood cancer. The mission is to cure leukemia, lymphoma, multiple myeloma, and improve the quality of life for patients and their families. LLS funds life-saving blood cancer research around the world, provides free information and support services, and is the voice for all blood cancer patients seeking access to quality, affordable, and coordinated care. So happy National Random Acts of Light Day. Do something kind for someone today. And before we go to break, I forgot one more important birthday, Pete. This one's more infamous than famous, but for those of you who frequent the senior center, when you call the senior center, the voice that you hear generally, the person that picks up is Tara LeBlanc. She's our program associate, and today is Tara's birthday. So for all of you listening who will be at the senior center today,
happy birthday, Tara.
Yeah, make sure that you wish Tara a very happy birthday. It is 6:33. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. We will be, let me see which song this is. This is the Sister song, right?
Yes.
Yeah. This is called My Sister by Reba McEntire. This is in honor of the Olsen twins' birthday. When we come back, we have some very special guests with us.
It's me, I just called to tell you hi. Call me when you get this. Haven't talked lately, so hard to find the time. Give the boys a big kiss. Tell them that I miss them. By the way, I miss you too. Just today about how we used to play Barbie dolls and makeup, tea parties, dress up. I remember how we'd fight and make up and laugh all night. Wish we were kids again. My sister, my friend. Before I forget, I met someone. I think I really like him. I was just wondering if I'm jumping the gun by going out on a limb and invite him home for Christmas to meet the family. Just yesterday, he brought home, what's his name? He had been drinking. What were you thinking? After dinner, he passed out. We can laugh about it now, 'cause we've learned a lot since then. My sister, my friend. my friend.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:38. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, June 13th, 55 degrees, going up to the mid-70s. We're going to get some showers this afternoon and some possibility for some heavy rain later on tonight. So
it'll knock down the fire danger.
Yes, it'll knock down the fire danger. And Pete and I are hoping that it'll also just kind of settle the pollen down a little bit. And I'm also hoping it'll kind of wash all the pollen off my car, which is, has turned from blue to green lately. So before I introduce our guests, I do have to do a couple of I'm going to sprinkle the announcements throughout today, but the most important announcement is that this Friday at the Senior Center we're having our Father's Day rock and roll concert. So we have, I think at last count, we have some tickets left, not a lot.
A handful.
So a handful of tickets left. So Friday, June 15th at 6 p.m., the music is by Westfield's own The Knightsman Band. We're happy to welcome them back. Tickets are $5 and they have to be purchased in advance. We're not selling any tickets at the door. We'll have door prizes. Alan Sudentis, our 50-50 guy, will be doing 50. He'll be handling the 50-50 drawing. We have a grand prize. We have several other smaller prizes, and everyone will take home a delicious ice cream sundae made by my staff. This was a huge hit last year. So the staff was busy preparing our little ice cream packet bags, goodie bags that we're going to be giving everyone as they walk out the door. So if you want tickets for that, they are going quickly, but they are on sale, $5 at the Senior Center. And again, you do have to purchase those in advance. We're not selling any tickets at the door. Last year, we had a little dance floor set up, and we hope to do so again this year. So we had quite a few folks that wanted to, rock and roll, rock it out. So my guests this morning are Bianca Syriac, who, yes, you recognize that name because Bianca was here probably about a month or so ago. She's the director of marketing for the Arbors at Westfield. So we're going to talk about how she ended up coming back so soon and why, because that's kind of a fun story. And Ed Walters-Zucco, who's the administrator of Integra Healthcare. So welcome to you both.
Good morning.
Thank you.
So when Bianca was here the last time, which was her first time on WSKB Talk Radio, she finished the session with, "That was so much fun." And it was so much fun. Sandra was with you then. And by the way, Sandra Jones, we know you're listening. This is a big shout out to Sandra
morning,
Jones.
Sandra.
Good morning. Thank you for getting up and listening. So, so Bianca, you were saying that you had a great time, and I think Pete threw out, "Well, would you like your own show?" And so
That's all
there
I
was
thought
a meeting
about
with
for
Brent
like a week.
and yes.
So what happened? And then suddenly, it's like, here you are. So tell us about that.
So actually, after the last radio show, Sandra and I headed back to the Arbors, took a picture of us, and we did a bunch of autographs and handed them out to everyone we knew because we thought we were celebrities.
I love it.
So in multiple Arbors buildings, we're hanging up in their, executive director's offices because we were like on a high afterwards, and I just loved it. So immediately, when Peter had mentioned a slot opening up, I was just like, I need to do it. I really want to do it. So I started kind of brainstorming what I can do, because it's pretty limited what my, knowledge is. And that's when I reached out to Ed, knowing that, he is a nurse and he would have a lot of good background information to kind of spread out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you will be doing your own show once a month.
Correct.
For
They're taking over the old
is it 1 hour?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the old
Yeah.
Arts Beat slot.
Yeah, it's when is that? Gary asked me that. And
Third
I said,
Wednesday at 9.
okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the third Wednesday of the month at 9 o'clock, from 9 to 10.
Yes. Yeah. So it's
Okay.
going to be Wellness Wednesdays with Ed and Bianca, and just going over general health topics.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that
so
name, by the way, was a real point of contention. It took us a while to get
Couple
that name.
arguments.
Used to
Well,
be
are-
Bob Plass would name all the shows.
Well, the interesting thing is that
You're lucky
that
we
was
didn't get a
that was
Bob
one that
Plass.
I had tossed around back when I first started my show, because it was because my topic is health and wellness, generally
Yeah.
health and wellness. We kept it with the Wake Up Wednesday because that had been the mayor's show, and Dan and I started the show together 4 years ago. So for nostalgic reasons, management at the time, Mike Knapping and I decided to keep it that way. But the wellness and the Wednesday, that did flow really well. So
The real argument was if
The
it
Ed
was
and
going
the
to be Ed and
Bianca.
Bianca or Bianca.
Oh, who wanted top billing?
I said he's my
Well,
co-host. I'm the
really
star.
didn't have
You become sidekick.
I know, I'm the sidekick now.
Yeah.
I actually polled people. So I went around and I think it was about 10
made
to
people
0.
vote.
You
I made
polled
people
people?
vote on
Okay.
whether it was Ed and Bianca or Bianca and Ed. And it was unanimous that it was Ed and Bianca. So that's how we landed on it.
That actually does flow better.
I have
Yeah,
to.
I know.
I think so,
I
too.
have to say I have to say that I was going to say, well, you know what? If you're just going with the flow
Yeah.
and not like who anybody is, it's
Yep.
that single syllable first.
Exactly.
Yep, I know.
Yes.
It's
It's not
Bianca.
alphabetical,
Yep.
but it's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's not alphabetical, but we all know that, like, Bianca, you're the star.
She is the star.
So
I
you're
fully
the star.
admit it.
So
She is the
we
star.
could say, so you could do Wellness Wednesdays with Ed and Bianca, starring Bianca Syria.
Yeah, I like
there
that.
you go.
Yep.
Okay.
That could be your opening.
Very long
I'll just
title.
bold my name. Aw. Denied.
Okay. All right. So, well, let's talk a little bit to Ed, because we haven't, we don't know anything about you. So you're a nurse.
I'm a
Bianca
nurse,
mentioned
yep.
that. Okay.
Yep,
So
I'm a
tell
nurse.
us. So we like to get the whole back, like the dirt. We like to know the background. So where are you from? Where did you go to school? How long have you been nursing? Where have you been nursing? All of that good stuff.
Okay. So I'm from Western Mass. Grew up in the South Hadley, Granby area. Currently live in Connecticut.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more of a commute now. Just recently moved to Connecticut.
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
new to Connecticut. Been a nurse for about 14 years now.
Okay.
Started working right out of nursing school for the Arbors Assisted Living.
Now, where did you go to nursing school?
I went to nursing school at Stick. That's where I
Okay.
graduated from.
Yeah.
Got my RN at Stick.
program.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a great program.
great
Yeah.
program.
Yeah. I actually started as an LPN, so I went to HCC and got my LPN in 2005, and then graduated from Stick in 2009 with my RN.
Okay, I have a question right there. Stop
Yes.
right there, because
Yep.
that exact topic came up with one of my employees whose daughter has been accepted into an LPN program.
Mm-hmm.
How challenging is it to transition from an LPN if she wants to get into an RN program down the road?
It's becoming more difficult now. I've heard the RN
Okay.
schools everybody is going into nursing, so they're a lot
Okay.
more selective. I think having an LPN as a background and being an LPN probably puts her ahead of the class.
Okay,
ahead
good to
of-
know.
yeah, so
I'll
I
pass
think it's
that
a good
information
step.
along.
Yeah.
So you did your LPN at HCC.
But it
and then
even
your-
took me at that time. I applied for the RN program right out of LPN school, and it still took 4 years before I could get in.
Yeah.
There's so many wait
wow.
lists.
Yeah, there's so few programs. I mean,
So-
Westfield
Amazing.
State opened up one
That's right, Westfield
because
State
there was
now has
such a
program.
demand for it.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So your first job was with the Arbors?
With the Arbors, yep. Worked for the Arbors
Interesting.
Assisted Living, and then
Which one were you?
oh
where
God,
were you at?
I was at all of them, but
Oh, were you?
mainly I worked for the Amherst Arbors.
Okay.
But was kind of all over. Spent some time at Mason Wright in Springfield.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
So was kind of all over, and then left the Arbors for a little bit. I felt like I wanted to get some skilled nursing.
Sure.
As we know, assisted living, it's not as much skill as it is more management. So I left and went to Heritage Hall, which is over in Agawam.
Which one? Which building?
I was in North Building in an orthopedic unit, and
Okay.
worked there for a few years, got some skill, and then when Integra Healthcare was started, which is owned by the Arbors, they had contacted me, and I was more than happy to come back and and work for them. So now I've been with
That's
Integra
interesting.
since about 2011 or 12.
So I didn't realize that Integra was owned by the Arbors.
Yep.
And so, you know what? We're going to take a break. It's 7:46. We're going to take our break, because our 15-minute break. But then I want to come back and talk a little bit about Integra
Absolutely.
and sort of how that's related. So I was really proud of myself, because I was trying to find a song in honor of the birthday of John Nash, who's, famous mathematician and so forth. And I found this song by Brad Paisley called "You Do the Math." It's a great song.
Perfect.
With 7 billion people in this world, I can't believe you're still a single girl. I bet you're thinking you're better off on your own. But the best things in life just can't be done alone. It takes two to make love, baby. I'm sure that I'm one, you're one. You do the math. Being
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Commercial Distributing Company of Westfield. Now in its third generation of family ownership, Commercial is one of the premier beverage distributors of Western Massachusetts. The Plasek family and the staff of Commercial Distributing wishes you good times throughout the year and urges you to drink responsibly.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
Thursday morning from 6 till 8, it's Patrick Berry, owner of the Westfield News Group,
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:52. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses. It is Wednesday, June 13th. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. I'm in studio this morning with the chairman of the board, Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning. Hey, one funny thing. When I was looking at the video from 2014,
yes,
all these walls were blank.
They were?
Yes.
Wow.
All
They
of them.
were?
Even the side walls. I was like, holy cow.
I do not remember that. For those of you who can't see but are listening, these walls, we're in the radio studio here. They're covered with posters and stuff that the students have all put up. That's so funny because I don't remember that. I don't remember how it gradually got to looking like it. You know,
Yes.
Have you left your mark, Tina?
I have not left my mark. Well, I've left my mark, but not necessarily on the walls. Okay, my guests this morning are Bianca Syriac, Director of Marketing with the Arbors at Westfield, and Ed Walters-Zuko, Administrator with Integra Healthcare. They will be starting their own WSKB monthly radio show. It'll be the third Wednesday of the month from 9 to 10 o'clock. So before we went to break, Ed, we were talking a little bit about Integra, and you were saying, and so Integra is a home health agency that's owned by the Arbors?
Correct.
Explain that. Like, how long have they been around?
So Integra's been around since 2011. It started out as just a private healthcare company, private home care. Home health aides, CNAs.
Sure.
So it kind of started because what we were seeing at the Arbors was people that needed extra care outside what an assisted living could provide would get it from the outside, would get care from the outside.
Right.
We had all kinds of agencies, and it was hard to keep track of who had what agency or who was doing what care for who. So they just decided, why don't we start our own agency? So that's kind of how it came about. Now we're a fully Medicare certified agency also. So we offer the physical therapy, the nursing, speech, all of that in the home. And we've expanded, so we're not just in the Arbors assisted living. We're in all other facilities, all other assisted livings, and in the community at large.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So, one of my questions, and I hope that you'll delve into this in your radio show at some point, but, a lot of what I get questioned about with assisted living is, when does somebody have to leave assisted living? When do they require more care than, because assisted living is not a skilled nursing facility.
Correct.
So I'd be curious to know about how you sort of mesh that Integra home health care with assisted living in terms of how much care somebody can get.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about having a home care like that, is because that's a question we get all the time.
I bet.
What's going to cause me to have to move out of here?
Right.
And the answer is really nothing at this point, because of Integra and other agencies too, but because we can keep people and let them age in place in the assisted living all the way up through hospice. We have a lot of people that live at the Arbors on hospice care.
Wow.
So really that can be their last move.
Okay.
Which is really nice. And yeah, we will delve into that.
Yeah,
more
I mean,
during
I think
our
that's,
show.
those are, I think they're, and I think people would be interested in some of the specifics
Absolutely.
of, what are some of the diagnoses that people
Absolutely.
living in
Yep.
assisted living, particularly at the Arbors, what are they living with? Because, again, in the old days, it was like, whoops, now you need this, you're out of here. You
Yep.
can't stay in assisted
Exactly.
living, because there are guidelines and laws and rules.
Absolutely.
For assisted living, which years ago, as I've been in this field for almost 40 years now, it's a long time, before we even had assisted living.
Mm-hmm.
And when we first came up with it, we didn't even have any guidelines. I can remember when they came out with the guidelines, because, anybody could kind of hang a shingle outside their door and say, okay, I'm in assisted living, I'm taking in,
Yeah.
So obviously a lot more guidelines now.
Yep.
So, geez, now I blanked out on the next question. You brought something up, and I thought, I got to ask more about that.
Well, that's something
Now I
you
forgot
guys
what
were
it is,
facing
but-
too as a family not too long ago. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And a lot of
That
people are
was one of-
facing it
yep.
right this minute.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
It's tough. The healthcare system is really tough to navigate too.
It is very challenging.
You know, it's tough to know what resources are out there, what's covered by what insurance, if Medicare coverage. There's so many questions out there. So it's definitely a topic we'll cover on our show.
Our dentist brings it up all the time about medical billing. He says he has
Yes.
to imply he employs more people that are really skilled in medical billing. He says that's the
Yeah.
most important part
It's-
of my practice.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And I appreciate it. Dr. Kevin Coughlin is on Bob Plaza's show the second Tuesday of the month, and I appreciate the fact that Kevin and Gary appreciates it. My husband, who is a chiropractor with Riverbend, appreciates the fact that Kevin talks a lot
He's
about the
candid about it,
business
yeah.
end of healthcare, because there is a business end of healthcare.
Yep.
And I remembered what I was going to ask you about. What is your role in Integra? What do you do there?
So I am now the administrator of the skilled side, meaning the skilled side, meaning the side that does the nursing, the physical therapy, the occupational therapy in the home. So I am the administrator there. I also function as a nurse there too. So I do go out and see patients as well.
Okay. And are you kind of home based in one of the arbors, or are you all over the place?
We're all over the place.
You're
Our
all
home
over.
office is in East Longmeadow, but we are all over the place. I'm all over Western Mass.
Okay.
We go all the way up to Greenfield, all the way out, Chicopee, Amherst, Greenfield, Westfield. We're all over Western Mass.
That's a big footprint, though.
It is a big
It's
footprint.
a
Yeah,
very big
yeah,
footprint.
it really is all of Western Mass.
And you know what, Ed, I also wanted to ask you, do you do, either you personally or does Integra do any sort of educational programs or community kind of education? Because I know some of the home health agencies do that.
Absolutely, that's one of my favorite things to do, which is why I'm so excited to do the radio show.
Yeah, as an informative,
yes,
educational.
absolutely.
Sure.
So I do talks all over at a
Okay.
lot of senior centers. I actually, as a matter of fact, yesterday I was at General Shepherd's doing a talk on brain health, and this Monday at 10 a.m. I will be at the Agawam Senior Center doing a talk on brain health and brain fitness, which is a very popular topic now, and I'll be doing that over at the Agawam Senior Center on Monday.
Aerobics? Are you do you get into any of the? I don't know if you get into any of
You may have just entered Tina's radar.
exactly.
We do
So
the brain games.
So brain
which is-
health.
yeah.
So the science behind it, it's neuroplasticity, which is
Yes.
a nice fancy word,
Yes.
but it's really brain fitness.
Yes.
And it's things that we can do at any age to help keep our brains sharp, to try to prevent any type of memory loss or mental decline in life. So
there's if you're not familiar with it, there was a lot of research done several years ago on and I can't remember the doctor who did it, and the phrase he used was neurobics, or the word that he came up with was neurobics, and it sounds like it's very similar.
Yep.
And just some really interesting stuff. And I think he was one of those, kind of pioneered this long before anybody was saying you could do things to help with brain function,
Absolutely.
plasticity, just
Yep.
as you're saying.
Yep.
So you're going to be at the Agawam Senior Center on Monday.
Yep.
At what time?
At 10 a.m. I believe
Okay.
it starts at 10 or 10:15 a.m.
Okay.
Monday.
Yep.
at
And do you
Agawam
know,
Senior
do
Center.
people have to sign up for that, or do you not? Or are you not sure?
I think people can just come.
Can just-
I
yeah.
I
Had a
think
couple people sign up.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Very good.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So, are you two excited about your show? You're
Yeah,
starting next
definitely.
week, right?
Yes.
Is it next week? Is
It
it
is
Thursday?
next
week.
A
Next
week
week.
from today,
Yeah, we're ready.
9:00. And the name of your show is, we haven't said it on air, we've said it off air, but what's the name of your show?
Ed can say it.
It is Wellness Wednesdays with Ed and Bianca.
She's
Yeah.
still holding a
Starring
grudge.
Bianca.
Still is holding a
Syriac.
grudge about
Yes,
it. Yeah.
starring Bianca Syriac.
I don't think
Hosted
we
by
agreed on
Bianca
that.
Syriac with co-host Ed
I've been calling him my
Walter-Zucco.
co-host.
Yeah, your co-host.
That's fine. I'm
there
fine
you go.
with that.
Yeah, so that's not a week from today.
Yeah,
at
Ed
9
actually
o'clock.
has previous
fun.
experience on the radio as well.
Yeah, this is like my second home. I'm so excited
Yeah,
to be
he's
back
really
on the
excited.
So
radio.
you've got a great radio voice. Where were you doing radio
So
before?
when I was in college at AIC, I did a sports talk show, and then I also broadcast. I did play-by-play for the hockey team.
Pete, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Play-by-play. Yep. Good.
so-
Oh, well, excellent. Well, welcome back to radio.
Thank you. It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. It is 7 o'clock. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield Masses. I want to thank my guests for this half-hour stint, Bianca Syriac and Ed Walter-Zucco. And you can hear them live next Wednesday at 9 o'clock on their new Wellness Wednesday show. So good luck to you both.
Thank you.
And have a lot of fun with it.
We will.
All right. and even though you're doing your own show, that doesn't mean that you can't come back and be a guest on my show.
We'll have to have you be a guest on our show.
Yeah. Like we can do that as well. It's 7:01. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. We will be radio for the Westfield masses. We will be
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
He rules the roost on Thursday from 6 till 10. It's Patrick Berry.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:04. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, June 13th. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in studio right now with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning, as I'm stifling a yawn.
That's okay. You know, you've had a lot of late. You've got all the budget. You've got the budget stuff, all the budget hearings.
Last week was crazy with graduations and budget, and I had a family funeral, and just everything at once. It was like, all right, if I survive this week, I think I can survive just about anything.
Okay, so Pete, that is how I feel about this day. I feel like if I can survive this day, because my schedule is packed all day long. I've got my budget thing tonight, and then my brother and sister.
So I'll see you in council chambers.
Yes, I'll see you in council chambers, and then my brother and sister-in-law are doing their annual trek from their apartment in Maryland up to their home in Bar Harbor, Maine, and I am the bed and breakfast at the halfway point. So they are stopping by tonight and doing an overnight. So, how to get the room ready, the guest room ready, and all that stuff. And I thought, I'm going to be wiped. All right. So here's some upcoming events at the Senior Center. We have a lot going on. We had a great presentation last night. Selena Conway, who was on our radio show a few weeks ago, was talking about the PACE program.
Yep.
She came and did a presentation last night and had about a dozen very eager learners in there. I mean, it was supposed to go for an hour, and of course it didn't. It went for like an hour and a half.
Oh, boy.
So I finally was kicking them out at 7:30 saying, oh, come on, I got to go. So, but anyway, that was a great program. So we have another evening program coming up on Wednesday, June 20th. So that's next Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. We have Susan Allen is returning. She's a financial consultant. Susan did a program for us last year at this time of the year, an evening program. She got rave reviews and people said, please get her back, get her back, get her back. So her presentation is called Get Ready to Retire. So we're really targeting seniors who are still working but thinking about retiring within the next year or two. How do you prepare? So she's going to focus on various aspects of Social Security, including when to claim, because you can claim your Social Security at different times, 62 and on. What are the benefits of claiming
earlier? What might be the
earlier?
right time for you?
Yeah. And that's very individual. There's not a cookie cutter recipe. So she'll talk about that. She'll talk about taxation of Social Security, and she'll talk about working while you're claiming. She'll do some Medicare basics. She's going to talk about how to do a 401k or a 403b transfer or rollover, and she'll talk about creating retirement income. So
That's pretty comprehensive.
Yes, it's a 2-hour, 6 to 8 p.m. Next Wednesday night. And
bring your legal pad.
Yes, we do need you to sign up only so that I know what room there's no cap on this, but I just need to know what room I'm setting up depending on the number of people. So call us at 562-6435. See, you can call this morning. Call that number. You're going to get Tara on the telephone. Wish her a happy birthday. And then you can tell her you want to sign up for the Get Ready to Retire program. In 2 weeks from today, we have, 2 weeks from today, it's on a Wednesday, June 27th, we're doing an art show. Our Art Unlimited class, which is taught by Elaine Lees, wants to do a show. It's not a sale. They just want to kind of show off what they've been working on.
Well, if the schools can do it, why can't they?
I totally agree. So we're going to do that in our Fireside Lounge, and that will go from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So, it's just one of those stop in, take a little look-see, come and be wowed, as I like to say. Also on Monday, June 25th, from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m., this has become an annual for us. We're having our Star Spangled Senior Concert, and that will be with Wally Gladwin, and the Senior Concert Band of Western Massachusetts, which is the coolest thing ever. There are like 30 or 35 members of this band. They're all people who are retired. They're from the entire lower Pioneer Valley. And I don't know if they're still in the band, but there was a trio of brass players from, I want to say Palmer. They were like all in their 90s. They were brothers. All in their 90s. So
I remember you saying something about that.
God, it's so cool. So the Senior Center Great Room is just going to explode with music. This is a 4th of July concert, so it's a lot of patriotic stuff. Just like my seniors love it. It's free Monday, June 25th from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. This is a multi-generational, intergenerational, so bring the grandkids as long as they're well-behaved. I don't want anybody running all over the Senior Center.
Somebody tripping or something.
Yep, exactly. But well-behaved grandchildren are welcome. Bring your families. It's always a lot of fun. Whip City Fiber is coming back for a drop-in session at the Senior Center. Those are always very popular as well. We're trying to do we're doing those like quarterly, so about every 3 months. They will be at the Senior Center on Tuesday, June 26th from 10 to 11:30 a.m. We put them in the Creativity Center. This is a drop-in. You don't have to sign up or anything. But if you want to learn all about the Whip City Fiber and how to watch local news and channels without cable and explore ways to watch movies and sports, including Nessun, then
hint,
this is where you want to
some
go.
of it's old-fashioned.
Some of what's old-fashioned? What do you mean?
Watching TV without cable.
Yeah, there you go.
Some of it's old-fashioned.
There you go. So the
Your
Whip
seniors
City,
might know. Go. Oh, I remember those.
Yeah, exactly. So Whip City Fiber drop-in session Tuesday, June 26th, from 10 to 11:30 a.m. And next Tuesday, June 19th at 5 p.m. at Stanley Park is the annual Grandparents Raising Grandchildren Summer Picnic. This is being coordinated by Maureen Vittorelli. And if you would like to attend, you bring your grandchildren, of course. This is all kinship caregivers are welcome to attend. Just bring a side dish or a dessert to share. Childcare is provided. It's at the park. It's really wonderful. It's a great opportunity for grandparents to get together and kind of support each other and for their grandchildren. So just let Maureen know you're coming. Her phone number is 237-6673, and if you didn't get that number, it's in the it's in the Voice of Experience newsletter, the June newsletter. We have a little write-up on the Grandparents Raising Grandchildren Summer Picnic. So that's what's coming down the pike in for the rest of June. I feel like and of course, remember our Father's Day concert this Friday, our rock and roll concert with the Knightsman Band.
Handful of tickets left.
$5 a ticket. You're going to go home with a delicious ice cream sundae. And I was talking to Joanne Spear, our kitchen manager, yesterday, because last year we had Vinny, her dad, the meatball maker. But Vinny he's a man of many talents. So last year he was scooping ice cream for the Sundays for Father's Day. So
there you go.
I said to Joanne said, yep, I talked to Vinny, she said yesterday, and Dad, you're going to come in and, help us with the ice cream sundaes. And he said, you were very generous last year. You were putting a lot of ice cream in there. And I said, Joanne said, because that's what Tina told me to do. And I said, and you're going to do that again this year. So
that's funny.
Tell Vinny, yeah.
Portion control.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's what's going on at the Senior Center. But there's also a lot of stuff going on in Westfield.
Tell me about it.
As we know.
Tomorrow is the next farmer's market.
There you go. Here, right, first thing on my list, Pete, Westfield Farmers Market, which I feel like, in past years...
I got to get over there because...
Well, in past years, they've come to me, they've given me flyers and brochures. I feel like it's under the radar screen
Danny's
this
been doing
year.
It. Have Danny start sending you
Danny
stuff.
Nason?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's a publicist.
I didn't know that because usually I've gotten all this stuff. I've had him on the radio show, and all of a sudden I drove by there last Thursday and I went, hey, the farmer's market? I have nothing.
He's been sending it to me. I'll have him send them to you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. So, yeah, because that would be helpful for me to, I'm happy
Danny,
to make
just
those
email
announcements.
Tina with the flyers.
There you go, Danny. That'd be perfect. And I'll hang them up, but also announce them. So
right.
Thursdays at the Episcopal Church of the Atonement, which is 36 Court Street, from noon to 6 p.m. We've got the farmer's market every Thursday until October 4th. They will do a SNAP benefits match of $5. They take WIC, and I'm not sure what FMNP vouchers are. I know WIC is the women and children. But anyway, those vouchers are accepted by some of the vendors. Live music, cooking and craft demonstrations, free parking, the ADA accessible restrooms, that's the Americans with Disabilities Act accessible restrooms, and a playground. So every Thursday, so they will be there tomorrow, rain or shine. But I think we're supposed to have nice weather tomorrow. Also,
tomorrow's going to be the rest of the week is going to be fine.
Yeah, we just have to get through today. We're gonna have some rain today, but that's okay.
Oh, good. My doctor put me on a very low carb diet.
Yes.
Like almost none.
Yes.
And high protein diet.
Yes.
So when I was
How's
out,
that working?
I chose broccoli as my thing, and I realized I looked it up, and broccoli has almost no carbs.
Good.
So apparently I'm doing well on my own.
Good. Go Pete. Excellent. The Sunday night concert series, the Westfield Back Sunday night concert series at Stanley Park this Sunday, June 17th, A Taste of Honey. A Taste of Honey is an 8-piece Tijuana brass tribute band, and it recreates the instrumental sounds of the original Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. That should be excellent.
Yeah,
that should be a really fun concert. Concerts begin at 6 p.m. in the Beverage Pavilion, weather permitting, and they are free to the public. Food services are provided by the Greater Westfield this is a mouthful. Greater Westfield Western Hampton County MRC, which is the Medical Reserve Corps, and the Greater Westfield CERT, CERT, which Pete is going to say is the
Community Emergency Response Team.
Thank you.
Or Citizen, sorry.
Citizen Emergency Response Team. Chairs will be available. So that is the Westfield Bank Sunday Night Concert Series. And here's another thing that went right under my radar screen last week, and I apologize. Amelia Park has started their Musical Moments concert series. I thought it started later in June, and it did not. It started June 5th. So they've already done 2. So Tuesday, June 19th, those concerts are at Amelia's Garden. They are free concerts on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. This is one of those bring your lawn chairs and enjoy the beautiful flowers, sunset, and music. And what's really nice about these concerts is if it's raining, they'll hold them inside at the Ice Arena. So just make sure you bring your hoodie or your sweatshirt or your jacket for that. Amelia Park Garden is located at 21 South Broad Street. This coming Tuesday, June 19th, it will be Easy Street is the name of the group, and this will be classic rock. So this should be a really fun one. And new this year, Pete, snacks will be available for purchase.
Cool.
Yeah, which is really kind of fun because in the past, they've always said if you want to bring snacks or, bring a picnic or whatever, which you can still do that. But you also have the option to buy some if you want to do that. So I think that's great. So that's the Musical Moments. I will post this. I gave Mary Lou Najalski, my program director, a copy of the whole schedule. It will be posted at the Senior Center on the bulletin board. And I do have some flyers, so we will get those out later today. Wednesday, June 20th, which is a week from today, the Governor's Center will be doing their monthly breakfast, Be Our Guest for Breakfast program. This is a free breakfast. You do need to RSVP by Monday, so you can call 241-1076. This is also posted on our bulletin board. The breakfast starts at 9 a.m., and the guest speaker is Sally English, director of the Forum House.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that should be really interesting because
right across the street.
Yeah, it is, and I think that what's really kind of fascinating about that is that a lot of people don't really know what the Forum House is.
We haven't had them on in several years.
We have not had them on, and I would love to. I'll get Sally's information from Roxanne, who is the person over at the Governor's Center, who's Roxanne Cotton is coordinating all these breakfasts. And I would love to get her on our show.
Been a while.
Because I can remember working here for quite a while and sort of saying, well, so what is the Forum House exactly?
Mm-hmm.
Or what
they do
exactly
a lot.
They do a lot. So anyway, so they will. So Sally English will be there next Wednesday, June 20th at 9 a.m. And by the way, that breakfast is fantastic. It's like a buffet type thing.
Yep.
And I mean, they have everything. They did Belgian waffles and eggs and bacon and all kinds of good stuff. So lots of great stuff. We'll do one more announcement before we take a break, and hopefully my guest will be arriving shortly.
He said he would be here.
Yes, he did say he would be here. Okay, Pete, we have not. I don't know if
He's
Bob.
here.
Okay, I don't even know if Bob has talked about this on his show, but next Thursday is the first concert on the Green.
Yeah.
Yeah, Music Fest Westfield. And I am so excited about this because I looked it up last night. I said, I had it on my calendar. So I said, I know it's coming up.
Is it the Motown Review?
Yes, it is the Motown Review with Timmy Maya, the Timmy Maya Experience, presented in partnership with the Valley's Classic Hits 97.7 WARE.
Yes.
So
that's Bruce.
I know, Bruce Marshall. I love Motown. I was so psyched. So it's Thursday, June 21st, 7 to 9 p.m. If you have not been to a concert on the Green, you don't know what you're missing. You have to go. It is so much fun. There's parking all over the place. There are, lots of police officers to get you across the street, so don't worry about any of that. But it's a ton of fun. We're going to have a blast. I'm hoping that the weather holds, and I'm going to try to get Gary to come down and join me. But it's a whole lot of fun. Lots of food vendors. So we'll talk more about that next week. But mark your calendar. It's a week from tomorrow is the first. They do one in June, one in July, one in August, and it looks like a great lineup. It is 7:19. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, Radio for the Westfield Masses. So this is my other really great song that I found. It's called Watching the Detectives by Elvis Costello and the Attractions, and it is in honor of the birthday of Sherlock Holmes, Basil Rathbone. Here you go.
detectives. When they shoot, they beat him up until the teardrops start. But he can't be wounded 'cause he's got no heart. Long shot attack, jumping sign. Invisible shivers running down my spine. Cut the baby, taking off her clothes. Close up with a sign that says we never close. You snatch a chew and you match a cigarette. She pulls the eyes out with a face like a magnet. I don't know how much more of this I can take. She's filing her nails while they're dragging the lake. She's watching the detectives. Oh, he's so cute. She's watching the detectives. Oh, and they shoot. They beat him up until the teardrops start. But he can't be wounded 'cause he's got no heart. You think you're alone until you realize you're in it. Now fear is here to stay, love is here for every day. Call it instant chess when it's past the legal limit. Someone's scratching at the window. I wonder who is a third detective from the check if you belong to the parents who are ready to hear the rest about their daughter's disappearance. So it really took a miracle to get you to stay. It only took my little fingers to blow you away. Just like watching the detectives. Don't get cute. Just like watching the detectives. Get so angry when the teardrops start. But he can't be wounded 'cause he's got no heart. Watching the detectives. It's just like watching the detectives. 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 Watching the detectives.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com, offering Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Information on all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area is available online at Xfinity.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
Wednesday mornings from 6 till 8, it's Tina Gorman with Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:25. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, June 13th. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in studio this morning with the chairman of the board, our producer, Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
Pete's trying to stay awake over here because it's been a really long week.
Yeah.
He's filming all of the budget hearings,
Between
and
that and
it's
being
a lot.
congested with the allergies.
He's dealing
I'm
with
just like sitting there
allergies
going,
and
good Lord.
not so good. And before I introduce my next guest and we get into that, I wanted to just make one other comment. I just ran through some announcements, some of the things going on at the Senior Center. One of the things that I failed to announce, and I was reminded by an avid listener this morning, is we do have office hours for State Rep Vilas has office hours every Thursday from 11 to 12 at the Senior Center. And most of you now know that he is being deployed to Afghanistan. So, but his legislative aide, Emily Swanson, will continue with the office hours, and it will kind of be business as usual. And Ward 2 City Councilor Ralph Figge has office hours generally held on the third Thursday of the month at the same time from 11 to 12. So this month, Ralph will be at the Senior Center on Thursday, June 21st. And I would just like to point out that although Ralph is the Ward 2 City Councilor, if you have other issues, certainly you can talk to Ralph about, if you live in one of the other wards, because he can
either point you in the right direction
exactly.
or both.
Yeah, exactly. He's a wealth of information, and at this point, one of the more seasoned city councilors. Ralph has been on the council now for a number of years, and the other hat that he wears on council is he's chair of the Legislative and Ordinance Committee, which is a huge committee. So not just as the Ward 2 councilor, but if there are issues that are coming before LNO that you have concerns or questions about, Ralph is happy to discuss with you.
He's also liaison to the schools, too.
He is liaison to the schools and liaison to the Council on Aging.
Right?
So, yes, he is a man who wears many, many hats. And so please feel free. He will be, again, at the Senior Center next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, from 11 to noon. So my guest this morning for this hour is Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health with the City of Westfield. Joe joins us on the second Wednesday of every month from 7:15 to 8. So good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
So Joe, we were talking off air. Joe went before the budget committee, the finance committee last night,
yep.
and kind of gave his, just kind of explain. Basically, it's just an explanation of here's what we need. Here's how we spend our money.
Yeah, it was it went well, and every finance committee that I've gone to has been fair, and they really do a lot of work in looking into beforehand.
Yep.
It amazes me all of the research and just the reading of everything.
The smart questions.
Yeah.
It's a smart question.
There's a lot to it. Lots of departments in the city, and we all have very different needs, and we're all trying to advocate for our constituents and our participants and clients,
and like with our departments, I don't know what your budget is like, but between health and the transfer station, it's over $1 million anyway, probably a couple million, but it's still not a huge department, so there's not a lot of wiggle room in there, and I think they totally understand that. We cut the fluff out years and years ago, and now everybody talks about you got to do more with less. Well, that's great, except you can't do more with less and less and less.
Exactly.
So eventually you get to the point where you're going to do less with less.
Yes.
And that was a little.
It drops off the cliff,
right?
Because you start eliminating people.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things mediocre or you can do a handful of things well, but you can't do everything if you don't have those resources. So that was my soapbox speech that I was ready to give last night, but I never had to give it, fortunately.
Well, and you know what, Joe? I think you speak on behalf of all the departments, because I think we're all feeling the same thing. I've been at the COA now for 12 years, and it's just exactly as you said. I've never had a year where anybody said, okay, hey, knock yourself out. Whatever your budget is, don't worry about it. It's every year. It's the same thing. Well, we're going to level fund, but there are certain union contract raises that you have to factor in. So you're really not level funding. You're really cutting.
Right.
And it's just exactly what you said. So every year it's like cut a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And just, you try to become smarter. You try to work with, I have so many partnerships. It's ridiculous, because you're always trying to partner with other departments, with, pooling your resources, other organizations within the city. And we do all of those things. So, I think, to a certain extent, it's a little nerve-wracking for the department heads to have to, go before the finance committee. But on the other hand, it is an opportunity for us to explain why we do what we do and, how we're doing it. So,
yeah, and there's not really any red flags in our budget anyway, like maybe there used to be 10, 15 years ago.
Yep.
Everything is justified and justifiable. So that's why I say, and our costs are escalating.
Sure.
And so, but every year we get less money. And the other thing that I was talking to some of them about afterwards was the revenue generation. So they're asking a lot of departments now, about generating more revenue.
Yeah.
To which I say, we have done that, but I don't know what the department's incentive is to do that, because what happens is you increase fees, and that money goes into the general fund coffers,
Right.
and you don't get credit for that. And I don't mean credit like accolades.
No, I know what
mean
you mean.
credit like
Yeah.
financial credit.
Right.
And so say you increase revenue by $60,000 a year, which we did this year.
But it doesn't go into the health department budget. It just
doesn't-
goes into the
no.
general.
And then here we
yeah.
are the next year sitting across the table talking about the same thing, how we
Yeah.
need to cut money out of the budget. So I know for the greater good, yes, you want to generate more revenue for the city to probably try and offset tax increases and stuff. But at the same time, as a department, you're increasing fees. You're getting the complaints from people. You're having to rationalize that with them, and at the same time, you don't get that money.
You're not reaping the benefits.
The city takes it and
city
gets
is,
to
but
use
your
it, which
department
is great.
isn't. Yeah.
But your department isn't. So the whole financial system needs to be revamped, as far as I'm concerned. It's not efficient, and it doesn't make sense. And so, like I said, when you increase revenue, you should be given credit for that somehow. Like, or even you had mentioned before, giving back money at the end of the year. There should be an incentive for that too.
Yeah.
So if you give back a certain percentage of your original budget, then they should promise to level fund you for the next year. So because that shows you're responsibly managing the money.
Exactly.
You're not wasting it. You're willing to give it back.
Sure.
And I've had that conversation with some of the counselors. So I'm not speaking out of school.
No, and sometimes what happens, because I've had, and I'm giving money back again this year. And, that's usually where I start when I do my budget thing. It's like, let's go to that number first. So here's what I'm giving back to you before I tell you what my ask is.
Yep.
But, and people have said to me, like, how is that possible? Well, it's possible because when you set up your budget, you're basing it on certain assumptions.
You're trying to do the worst case scenario too.
Right, exactly. Like this is the most that this could, some of it is energy costs. My G&E bill was not as much as we had budgeted for. Well, I never know what the rate's going to be, and I don't know what kind of weather we're going to have. If it's a milder winter and a milder summer, that kind of evens it out. We don't, so our costs are less. The other thing too is that if you have part-time staff, which I have a lot of part-time staff, well, part-time staff have no benefits. Right. So if they get sick, they're out. It's leave without pay. The city saves that money. If somebody's out, because if you're a benefited employee, you have sick time. So even if you're not at work, you're getting paid. All my part-timers, they want to take a week's vacation. I don't pay them. So that salary that I had set for them, this is like, if they work every day this year and don't take a sick day and don't take any vacation, well, that that's not going to happen.
Right.
So there's going to be some savings there as well. So there are different ways that, savings occur, but you can't count on that when you're setting up your budget. I have to set up my budget saying, this is the number of work days, this is the rate of pay, and I have to assume that the person's going to be there every day, even though from a practical standpoint, we know that's not going to happen.
Happens.
So so it's interesting stuff, because I know people have said, well, how is that possible? How do you, you're always crying the blues about all of us, about money and budgets. How can you, be giving money back? But that's kind of how those things happen.
Yeah, we'll give money back this year too, both sides on health and transfer station, a little bit, but that's probably due to a lot of cost avoidance type things that we do, and not that things just didn't cost what we thought.
Right.
It's that we decided to go a different way with something and save money. So that's another thing that you should get credit for, is any of the money, because it's so easy to not do that.
Yes.
It really, you could just sit there and keep spending, and that was always the problem with city government.
Yeah.
Is that there was no reason to because the money just kept coming.
Yes.
So you didn't have to sit down and analyze and say, okay, so how am I going to save this so I don't have to ask for money at the end of the year?
Yep.
But now that's what we do.
Yeah, that's how we roll, Joe. All right, it is 7:35. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield Masses. So, in honor of National Random Acts of Light Day, which has to do with blood cancers, we are doing Bad Blood by Neil Sedaka.
But
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Wednesday mornings start off right from 6 to 8 a.m. with Tina Gorman and Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:39. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. I'm going to make this announcement because if I don't make it right now, I'll forget. That is for those of you who utilize the Senior Center on a regular basis, particularly the games room. Just a reminder that the whole second floor is closed today. Okay, no games. The games room is not open. The guys know it. They.
Ooh.
Well, we're doing some fun stuff up there, and tomorrow they will be going yay. So little secret, but anyway. So just a reminder. And the I know there was a group that asked if they could play cards in the great room after lunch, and the answer to that is absolutely yes, you can, because you can't go upstairs. Okay, so I am in studio this morning with the chairman of the board, who is loudly booing in the background there.
I wasn't the only one.
Producer Pete Coles, and the other booer is Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health for the City of Westfield. So welcome again, Joe.
Hello.
So Joe, what's new in Department of Public Health land?
They're not kind
You
of.
can talk about whatever you
all right,
want.
Let me just make an announcement too. So
Sure.
Because
Go ahead.
some of you may know my mother, Carol Palmer,
I
who works at the
know.
YMCA.
Yep.
I would like to wish her a happy retirement.
We were going to do a big fat shout out to
She'll
Carol.
be in here at 12:40 to tape with Harry.
Today?
Yeah.
Today.
Okay.
She's taping though, but her last day is Friday.
Retirement party, yep, at the
June
Y. They're going to
15th.
have a little party there at 11:30. So I think it's open to everybody.
I think
if
so
anyone
too, because
wants
I
to
asked
come in.
Andrea Aller like a couple months ago. I said, what's going on for, are you guys doing anything? So yeah, so 11:30.
Yep.
On Friday?
Yep.
Yes, and Carol Palmer has been at the YMCA for over 20 years.
Over 30.
Over 30
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
I just can't. This is a sad day. And I have to tell you this is so funny. I sent your mom an email because she coordinates all of the fitness classes at the Senior Center with me.
Yep.
So, of course, I'm trying to get all this done before she retires. I'm like, okay, so can we do the invoice for the current class list? So we're back and forth, and I had CC'd my principal clerk, Carol Shannon, on this, because Carol handles all of the money stuff and the invoices. So I sent this thing to your mom, and we need this, that, and the other thing before you leave. Or no, I said we need that because we're getting to the end of the fiscal year. So, and then I kind of did a separate thing going, planning for or countdown to retirement or something like that. So Carol comes running into my office. She gets the email. She goes, "Are you retired? What don't I know? Are you retiring?" I said, "No, I'm not retiring. Carol Palmer's retiring." Oh my God, she was white as a ghost.
Oh.
I think she was just really nervous. It's like, how is this possible? I didn't know you were leaving. I said, "No, I'm not leaving. Carol Palmer is." So yes, we wish Carol a very happy retirement. Does she have retirement plans? Do we know of anything?
I'm sure she does, and it's probably all over the place. Knowing
But
my
you're not
mother,
privy
but
to it.
I'm not privy to it. She wants to, kind of spend time doing her own thing, which she has
Yep.
a million different things going on all the time. So,
Okay.
it's just time.
I'm
It's
just trying to figure out how I can, tap her talent at the Senior Center for, maybe just something that would be fun, maybe not a big deal thing.
I have mentioned that. Now I would give her some time.
Yes.
And let that novelty of retirement wear off.
Yeah, Carol, you have 6 months.
Yep, you have 6 months,
I
and
don't
then
think it's
she's
going to take that long.
I don't think it's going to take that long either, because you know what? I think of myself and I'm like, oh my God, after I do all the stuff around my house that I want to catch up with and do, it's like, okay, now what? All right. And I think that Carol's going to be the same way.
Yeah.
I'm hoping she will be the same way.
Yeah, no, she's not going anywhere. She's just not going to be at the Y full time. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right. So what's going on in Department of Health land?
So real quick, because we're at that time of year now where we're getting inundated with property maintenance complaints. So I don't know if we've talked about this before.
We have not.
Okay. So we actually do have a Westfield property maintenance ordinance that was passed by the city council. I don't know, few years ago.
Okay.
And it charges the health department and I believe police department for enforcing it.
Okay.
And it's for things like tall grass, overgrown vegetation, standing water, anything that could potentially decrease the property values of the adjacent properties. So it's
or affect
really,
the health of the if you have standing water.
Standing water
yeah,
could be,
it basically says any property, whether residential or commercial, has to maintain that property in a clean and sanitary manner. So that's kind of a real vague blanket statement.
Yep.
It does break down some of the criteria for like tall grass. It can't be over 12 inches. It took me many, many years for them. And speaking of Ralph Figge, he was a big champion of this ordinance, so he got it through. There was always a resistance on the council to pass a property maintenance ordinance because they didn't want to have, you know, the seniors and you know, people that they're not as their property isn't as easily maintained anymore by them. So they didn't want to be going out and throwing the book at the little old lady. You know what I mean? So they were always like, no. Can you just find another way to enforce it if it needs to be done? So we were kind of always scrambling with that. Now we actually have it on the books. We do get tons of complaints at this time of the year, especially now that we're, you know, far enough into the spring where the grass can really get over 12
inches in a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we're the grass cops now.
Yeah, the grass cops.
And, we're the grass cops for exterior maintenance, and then eventually we'll be the grass cops for recreational marijuana.
Yes, exactly. That'll be that's a whole other topic.
Yeah. So the best thing to do if you live in the core of Westfield, and you have a community police officer. So. I would say the best way to handle this if you have a complaint about a neighbor or any other property is to try and, I'm not trying to deflect to them, but they are very good at just kind of going and knocking on the door and saying, hey, excuse me. And you know, when a uniformed police officer shows up at your door and asks you to mow your lawn, you probably are going to do it.
Yep.
Unless your lawnmower is broken, and that's been a thing.
Sure. That's,
you know,
that's legitimate. Yep.
You know, not everybody can run out and buy a brand new lawnmower. Sure. So. We understand that, but I just wanted to let people know that there is actually an enforceable ordinance that's on the books, and it goes, you know, it could even be exterior maintenance of your house or your shed, you know, if it has, it does technically say in the ordinance needs to be free of chipping or peeling paint.
Okay.
That's a big, huge obstacle for us because, I mean, if you just drive around the city, you're going to see that everywhere.
Yeah. It's called living in New England.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we just have extreme weather. So.
But they put that in there because, you know, there are, usually piggyback that with something else. You're not just going to drive around and look for flaking and chipping paint and cite somebody for it.
All right. So now I have a question, Joe. So this is both residential and commercial. So if it's a commercial, which I'm thinking of a few in the downtown area, so what, I mean, can they be cited as well? I mean, can somebody kind of make a formal complaint? I'm thinking of a couple of buildings on, you know, right on the Elm Street area that, you know, definitely could use a fresh coat of paint, if nothing else. So,
it's, you know, if we don't go around looking for trouble,
right.
obviously.
No, I know.
But if we were to receive a complaint, we have to investigate it. And then if it is technically a violation of the property maintenance, what we usually do, because the penalty for violating that or not complying with that within 14 days of notice is that you get a ticket. Okay. So you're going to get a fine, and then it goes up from there. You know, it'll be $50, and then it'll be $100, and then it'll be $200. So, but what we do is usually we have these door tags that if we see or get a complaint, we'll go out and we'll leave that on the door for occupied property. For vacant property, that doesn't make sense. But and then usually the people just call us. Now, most of the people don't know about the ordinance. Yeah. They don't know that they're doing anything wrong.
Right.
They don't know that anybody's complained.
Sure.
So probably more than 50% of them can be cleared up with a phone conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, you always want to give the person the benefit of the doubt, because sometimes, hey, a lot of us are really busy. We work a lot of hours, and it's one of those things like, God, I got to cut the grass. Geez, I really need to, we really need to paint the shed. And it's they know it, and it's kind of on that, but it gets put down to the bottom of the priority list. But then you get a notice and it's like, hey, listen, you have to do this. Well, now it gets back up to the top of the priority list.
Right.
So it's not necessarily somebody who's going to come at you and argue with you. I don't need to do that, or you can't tell me what to do. It's just more a matter of, as you said, I didn't really even know there was this ordinance, but now that I know, and I knew it had to get done anyway, so let's just move it up the list of something that I need to do sooner rather than later.
And we don't throw around enforcement of the ordinance liberally. It's very conservative because we just want people to we want that voluntary compliance.
Sure.
And actually, there's times where we'll get a complaint, we'll go out and we'll look at it, and it's not a violation. I mean, maybe technically it is, but at the same time, you got to take it on a case by case. And so you look and go, it's not really trash. It's not causing any, infestation of bugs or animals or anything. It's just an aesthetic issue.
Yeah. And that sometimes happens where it's kind of that gray area that it doesn't. I mean, if you're measuring the grass, that it's easy to do. It's like, okay, it's over 12 inches or it isn't. But something like the sort of the aesthetic piece of it is like, well, yeah. I mean, one person may consider it an eyesore, and another person may be like, that's not that big a deal.
Yeah, you
so
can't,
those are tough.
You can't mandate cleanliness.
Yes, there you go. It is 7:50. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. And this is Miley Cyrus with The Climb, and again, in honor of our recent graduates.
I can almost see it, that dream I'm dreaming, but there's a voice inside my head saying, you'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking, every move I make feels lost with no direction. My faith is shaken, but I gotta keep trying. Gotta keep my head held high. There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. It ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. The struggles I'm facing, the chances I'm taking, sometimes might knock me down, but no, I'm not breaking. I may not know it, but these are the moments that I'm gonna remember most. Yeah, just gotta keep going, and I gotta be strong. Just keep pushing on, 'cause there's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Commercial Distributing Company of Westfield. Now in its third generation of family ownership, Commercial is one of the premier beverage distributors of Western Massachusetts. The Plasek family and the staff of Commercial Distributing wishes you good times throughout the year and urges you to drink responsibly.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Wally Computer Associates, one of the largest technology providers in North America. Headquartered in Southwick, Wally provides all of the products and services that you'd expect from a world-class technology partner to schools, colleges, businesses, as well as state and local governments and agencies. Wally Computer Associates, meeting all of your technology needs. On the web at WCA.com. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:56. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
And Joe Rouse, director of public health with the city of Westfield. Good morning again, Joe.
Good morning.
So we're talking a little bit about this. What is this ordinance called? Is it the exterior something?
It is called Westfield Property Maintenance Ordinance.
Okay. So basically it says keep your house and your lawn nice looking.
Yeah, and
I
think
kind of the bottom line.
And I think the main thing was they wanted to accomplish two things. So one was to actually give us something with some teeth.
Yep. Something in writing.
Yep, so that we can actually enforce it if we need to. And the other thing was there's always a concern by people, especially if they're trying to sell their house,
yes,
that you don't have a junkyard next door.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it is going to decrease your property value.
No doubt about it.
And so they, wisely wrote that in there that way. So we could go out and if for nothing else, we just decide that this property is decreasing the property values of the adjacent properties.
Yeah.
We could actually send them a violation of the ordinance. So, and I think a lot of this came to be because we have been in constant discussions with the law department and different city councilors and other departments where in the old days, we didn't have this, and we used to have to cite people under the state sanitary code. And that is that's not...
Well, that's harder.
It's harder, and also the remedy is a criminal process. So
you don't want to do that.
So we were constantly taking people to court because they wouldn't maintain their property. And it just got to the point where the court, it was right after they had the tornado in Springfield, whatever year that was.
Yeah.
2011.
7 years ago.
And the courts, 2011 was a bad year.
Yes.
And they were inundated with, housing court issues about the buildings and the damages and the housing and all that stuff. And there I go walking in there one day as usual with, a tall grass
they don't want to see this stuff.
And they basically said, don't bring this back into this court
Get
ever
out of here.
Again. So figure it out within your city.
Exactly. Go work it out.
And so so what the council did right after that is they did another ordinance which was called the Declaration of a Public Nuisance.
Okay.
So they did that first. That wasn't as kind of specific or general as this one is. That one really required us to go out and declare a public nuisance on a property, which we really couldn't do for tall grass. That was more of the big, exterior hoarding kind of stuff. This is a public nuisance. So that wasn't working. They revised it, came back with this, just Westfield Property Maintenance Ordinance.
Okay. All right. So, We just have a minute left, Joe. Anything else that people should know about this? So let's just go over it again. So tall grass. So keep your grass can't be more than a foot. Is that what the specification
is? It says 12 inches.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My always thing about tall grass is I always feel like. Well, we have a house that's been foreclosed on in our neighborhood, and
Can we write up the Mass DOT for the island going down East Main Street?
Yes, well, that's what I thought about that. Which, by the way, I never noticed that until Patrick Berry said it about 18 times on his show when he had Dave Phillips on there. I know it is, and I thought to myself, I never noticed it. Now Patrick said it, and now I see it every day because I go down Route 20. So tall grass, paint, peeling paint, standing water,
overgrown vegetation.
Yeah, like bushes
and stuff that grows over, especially
like the houses on East Main Street,
right? And
the ones that they're being torn down, aren't they?
Yes,
the houses on East Main Street.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
right by Mercy Medical Care.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah.
And then it could be just anything. It could be junk in the yard. It could be
okay. Yes.
It could be a.
Is there anything, and I don't know if it's in this ordinance, is there, and I think this has actually gotten brought up at department head meeting, there's nothing about the number of vehicles, is there, or is there?
There is not, and that goes...
You cannot have an unregistered vehicle on your property.
For more than 30 days, I think, is the way it works. But there is nothing, and I've spoken to this, you're right, we have talked about it. There is no number for how many vehicles. So if they're all registered, there are regulations about where you can place them on the property.
Okay.
But if you had, a good sized property and you could have 20 cars and if they're all registered, nobody can do anything about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, that may be another one that Ralph has to work on at some point down the road.
There's businesses that are based on a property that's some residential, some business. They've got special zoning permits. So
that's different, though. That's different if it's a business. But what I'm looking at, what I'm looking at are residential properties where we have one in West Springfield. I mean, the properties, the size, it's a postage stamp, and we got pickup trucks, and we got, and I'm sure they're running I'm sure they're using it to store their business stuff, but it's not zoned for that. Yep. It's a residential property, so we got to deal with that mess. All right, it is 8:01. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. Tomorrow, Patrick Berry he's out of commission.
Off.
He's off. So
he has a concert tonight. He's not waking up that early in the morning.
That's what it is. Okay, so so you're doing a best of show.
Scott Hathaway is the tree guy.
Right.
Yes, we will be repeating that show.
And I have to tell you, if you didn't hear that show, listeners, if you didn't hear that show,
was a good one.
I had thought to myself, really, they're going to have this? He is hired by the city.
Yes,
he works for the city, and he is all about trees,
natural resources.
And I thought to myself, really, like 2 hours. He was fascinating, and he's
deployed now too.
Oh,
he's on a 3-month deployment.
That. You know what? His background is fascinating, and the way he's going about it, I was engrossed for 2 hours. So that'll be a really good best of show. That'll be 6 to 8 tomorrow morning. Next week on my show, I have Dr. Akinyele Lovelace will be back, and we are going to talk about pre-diabetes, which we kind of started to get into that a little bit last month, and decided to take that off as a separate topic. And then I've also got a couple folks from the Agawam area, Katie Lee, and I can't remember the other person's name. He's a respiratory therapist, but we're going to talk about traveling when you have chronic illness and things like that, and travel. Airplanes, how to get in and out of security and all that good stuff. So it should be a really interesting show next week. Join us next Wednesday, and just remember, get those rock and roll Father's Day concert tickets ASAP, because we're having our Knightsman Band at the Senior Center this Friday, and tickets are selling fast. Have a good one. And Joe,
stay healthy, my friends.
No more. You were what the feet did not. So
baby, now you're one of us. Ain't it fun? Ain't it fun? Ain't it fun?